tits were about to spill out. On some people, it would have looked bulky, but on her tall, hourglass, supermodel body, it was enough to make his tongue stick to the roof of his mouth. Especially since he knew exactly what was under it. Not a damn thing but her luscious body. She stopped in front of him. "Buy a girl a drink?" "I know Ferrante here would be happy to get your drink, along with covering everyone else's tab." The other Marine shook his head in amazement and reached for the wallet in his back pocket. Mateo got off his bar stool and held it out for her. She sat down and tossed her hair over one shoulder. The position gave him the perfect angle to look down the deep V neckline of her dress. His cock twitched at the sight. This was their game. They played it every few months, whenever one of them could hop a plane and sneak away for a weekend of hot sex. She met him somewhere public, wearing the absolute minimum amount of clothing. He'd hold out as long as he could, until he had to drag her to his hotel room, where they'd fuck until they were both too exhausted to do anything but breathe. If he'd been a better kind of man, he'd worry about falling for Olivia Sweet. But the truth was that he wasn't. He wasn't a man made for commitments. Watching the ugly implosion of his parents' marriage had turned him off that institution for good. But a good time? Oh, he was ready for that any time, any place, which is what made his arrangement with the wild child of salvation so perfect. Olivia looked up at him as she toyed with the thin gold chain around her neck that disappeared between the deep valley of her tits. "Like the view?" "It's unbelievable." And it was. He wasn't going to last long before he had to touch her. Tomorrow morning, he and his team were headed out to train at a place they couldn't even tell their families about. To everyone outside of a select number who qualified as need-to-knows, their second tour in Afghanistan would just be business as usual, when in reality, it was anything but. He had less than 12 hours before training lockdown, and he wasn't about to waste it in a bar when Olivia was here. The elevator doors had barely shut before Olivia's fingers were at the buckle of the belt, cinching the waist of her trench dress. Drunk on his nearness, she ignored the security camera in the ceiling. It didn't mean a damn thing. Hell, who was she kidding? She was the wild, sweet triplet, the one voted most likely to do anything. And all she wanted to do right now was Mateo. "Take it off." His hungry gaze never left her as he inserted the penthouse keycard into the slot above the floor buttons. The elevator jerked ever so slightly as it rose at a glacial pace, and she adjusted her stance to better balance on her 4-inch heels. The last thing she wanted was to tumble onto her ass during a striptease. Not tonight. Not with Mateo. She'd spent most of her life half in love with him. Making a fool of herself in front of him wasn't an option. The penthouse. Really? She untied the belt around her waist. The material loosened around her, the sudden influx of air sweeping against her overheated skin. "I'm a man without commitments, or a permanent address unless it's attached to a military base. What else am I going to blow my money on other than outrageously expensive hotel rooms to fuck you in until you forget your name?" His green hazel eyes had turned dark with barely reined-in lust. "Now stop teasing." She inched down the zipper, slowly. She loved pushing him like this. He'd snap. He always did. And the explosion would be so worth it. For both of them. He leaned back against the closed elevator doors and crossed his arms, the move making his biceps bulge. "I said, take it off." She toyed with the zipper, but didn't lower it even a millimeter more. Her nipples puckered against the dress's soft leather, warmed by her desire-heated skin. "Here? In the elevator?" Something dangerous flashed in his eyes. Hard, wild, ravenous. "Yes." She clenched her core muscles tight. She couldn't help herself. Teasing him turned her on. "Why should I?" "Because you want to." He closed the distance between them in one swift step, crowding her up against the back of the elevator, centering himself between her open legs. "You want to show..."